Huh. Where did this come from? Where did this come from? I think we can probably clean up our list a little bit, at least, by ditching everything Brazil-related, because we have that part down now. This is good. This allows me to remove a bunch of stuff off of my list. And this is all still relevant. This is not anymore. Still relevant. This is not relevant. Neither is that. Robin is probably actually up here. We definitely do not have a picture of her yet, though. I don't know. Is very, very rich in occupation. At least try and resolve this path. Search everything for you. But that means... I guess it's entirely possible this is also just a dead end. Could be, could be. Nice. I didn't scroll down this page completely. That's how I missed this section. I scrolled down to here, and I missed the last bit. Our kids are the complete opposite though. Mark couldn't wait to travel abroad as soon as he was old and left. He's actually in business school in China now, working with my sister. Our niece who grew up there was the opposite. She couldn't wait to get here. She started calling herself Lucy Lang in high school, and flew out here as soon as she graduated. The name change apparently drove my sister absolutely loco. Not exactly a common name, but not the most uncommon you've come across either. There are a few that come up with any searchable details, so it might be possible to narrow down your possibilities. Lucy Lang is mentioned on a robotics website as part of Team Talon Claw. Team Talon-Claw, one of only 2 teams from the US, participating in a new robot-based show in the UK. Robot Wars. That's the only one I know of. Another Lucy Lang is part of a small women's a cappella group in Los Angeles called the Gin and Tonics. A third Lucy Lang works in New York for a business called Corporate Synergetic Solutions Limited. Let's just search all of them. Robotic Club of Mid-Eastern University, their robot, also known as Talon-Claw, has been selected for an appearance on the 2nd season of a British television show focused on robot fighting. A small blurb mentions that robot fighting leagues have existed for a few years, but there have been recent moves to televise it. Talon-Claw was one of the 2 teams selected from the US. The Robotics Club has a text-only site you find linked from the university's students section. The site seems like it's used mostly to announce the schedule to its members. The club is supposed to meet every Tuesday and Thursday, but the last 8 dates have all been cancelled because a few of the members of the team are currently in the UK filming. Another date from a few weeks back was cancelled for an interview with the school newspaper. At the bottom, the travelling members of Talon-Claw are listed as Team Captain Jaya Patel and supporting members Lucy Lang and Kurt Hughes Hauser. Who I bet I'm going to find nothing particularly relevant for. Come on. Mid-Eastern University is a notable private college that advertises itself as midway through between Maine and Miami. Their mascot is the Spectres, though they are not known for their sports programs as much as their education. The legal and language departments are their pride and joy, though they also have fairly extensive computer science and robotics programs. And with other prodigious schools that haven't quite reached the notoriety of Ivy League schools, some refer to it as Little Ivy. The college has embraced this, calling their newspaper the Herald, which is the combination of Hedera, the scientific name for ivy, and Herald. The website boasts that they have a historical technology museum on campus, including a still-functioning computer from the 1960s that takes up a full room. They also have a printing press that they use to print one special year-end issue of the Herald each year. Brilliant. And we got a new periodical. I wondered if it might be, or if it might have been too niche, but no. School newspaper of the Mid-Eastern University appears to be available in your periodical archive. Yup. Brilliant. The Herald has a story about the school's robotics team, Team Talon-Claw. It lists 3 student members and talks a bit about each of their history, including their interest in robotics. The one that catches your attention is Lucy Lang. She grew up in China as Min Lang, but came to the US specifically to attend university. She says she grew up around factory-scale machines that assembled products that would be shipped all over the world, and the moving parts and automation fascinated her. However, as she moved through her major, she became obsessed with smaller, more powerful hydraulics, such as the mechanism that closes Talon-Claw's weapon. In addition to robotics, she loves linguistics. One of her hobbies since coming to the States has been collecting accents. In her spare time, she practices not only removing any trace of her native inflection, but also quickly switching between multiple different regional accents. She feels her personal best is the Southern Belle, but her favourite is the Valley Girl due to its use in popular culture. The article has a picture, which I shall now find. Here it is. Yep, that's a battle bot, as they call them in the US. That's a impressive looking weapon, but I'm not convinced that would actually be very good. It seems style over substance. Why has it got so many different points? Why is this bit curved all the way back over here? This really should not matter. Acapella! Gin and Tonics are a college a cappella group out of Los Angeles. Lucy Lang is listed as a soprano. There doesn't seem to be much else other than her name, and that she performs as a soloist on a song called Like the Wind. The group were featured on a CD compilation called BOCA, performing a cover of a popular boy band song. It doesn't seem relevant to your search. This is going to be completely irrelevant, but I'll read it anyway. Subways of Your Mind by FEX is an early 1890s pop song and a #1 hit in many countries that peaked at 6 in the US. It is still played to this day on contemporary stations around the world and is often found on compilation discs of popular music. One reviewer at the time was quoted as saying Subways of Your Mind is one of those rare songs that feels like it's always existed, and the artist just plucked it fully formed from the collective ether. It's hard to imagine a world in which this modern classic won't become a part of our audio landscape for the next 100 years. What a sad, empty world that would be. FEX had many follow-ups that were just as popular in European countries, though their continued success was significantly more limited in the United States. Their next single, Talking Hands, only reached 24, and their third single, Modern Danger, failed to chart whatsoever. Due to Subways of Your Mind famously starting with a catchy opening phrase like the wind, and perhaps also due to its somewhat lengthy title, those seeking it out or requesting it often search for Like the Wind. Many lyric sites and music hosting sites even label it incorrectly, making this mistake even more common. When searching for combinations of Like the Wind and attempting to narrow it down to results that include the Roottrees, you find that an obscure Irish band called U2 once cited both FEX and Jim and Diamond as inspirations. As far as you can tell, neither FEX nor Subways has anything to do with your search, but seeing as U2 is relatively unknown to anyone outside of Dublin, the connection seems to be an odd coincidence. Brilliant. Well, now I'm obligated, aren't I? Nothing relevant, obviously. Lucy Lang is a lead synergy engineer, one of the top facilitators in the world. Brilliant. Maybe. And, whoa. A lot of our intuition vanished off of here now. Which is good. This is good. Can I? Okay, I'm totally wrong about over here, apparently. That or something very, very, very strange is going on. Then over on this side we have you. Okay. Give to me another lead. Done with all this now? We're probably done with all this now. Right, yeah, obviously. Duh. Whoops. Okay. Help if I could type. Mary Webb in San Diego has a website called Web on the Web. Apparently it's a personal travel diary that also doubles as an advertisement for her travel agency. Click. Descriptions of Mary's services including booking flights and cruises. Almost all of them involve extremely niche audiences. It seems Mary is the #1 agent when it comes to booking spiritual vacations aboard ghost ships and in specific hotel rooms said to be haunted. She also has a dedicated section for more traditional modern cruises that cater to specific groups such as fans of boy bands. In the diary entries, she talks about the trip she's personally taken and uses that as an opportunity to feature descriptions of amenities and excursions that the ships offer, even when you're on them to see a specific band or ghost. There's also pictures of ships, hotels, landmarks in places she's visited, as well as a picture of Mary herself with the ship in the background. One of her diary entries actually mentions the day that the photos were taken. She was allowed onto the ship on a port day in San Diego with a professional photographer she knows. Photo has been added to your evidence. Fantastic. What are we even calling this? Travel agent, I suppose. Eventually, I'm gonna get you two correct. Ow? I don't know. Is it possible they're going by Hughes? No. I am utterly bewildered by that section of the graph. A photograph of Mary in front of an alleged ghost ship from the 1800s. Fitzsian turned up without any crew several years later. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but fans love to tour it and come up with their own paranormal theories. A company called Corporate Composition Photography is listed on the top left. Is it the Obra Dinn? Doesn't really look like it. Corporate Composition Photography is a photography studio that was listed on a few different sites for businesses in San Diego. It seems to have been possible to hire them to take professional quality photos for businesses of all sorts. As far as you can tell, it appears to no longer exist. The company is also mentioned on a photography site with some IRC chat logs. It seems the site is the personal page of a member of an IRC photography channel. They have archives of logs they've been saving since 1993. One of them was from 1996, when Val, the former head photographer from Corporate Composition Photography, did a Q&A with our users about taking pictures for promotional materials and print ads. Most of the questions and answers are pretty technical. They not only seem irrelevant, but generally go over your head. One of the questions, however, mentions that Val was on the cover of Telephoto and asks about Iraq. The question was quickly shut down by the person running the Q&A, who says Val does not wish to answer any questions from his photojournalism days, nor does he wish to talk about Little Big Planet. Please keep this on the subject of commercial photography. What they're talking about Little Big Planet, I have no idea. Telephoto? Photography magazine. Huzzah. Okay. We have a Val, who may or may not be relevant to anything. LBP can stand for Lebanese Pound, Lower Back Pain, Lead-Based Paid, Low Blood Pressure, Louisiana Border Pharmacy, Long Beach, Pennsylvania, Lynch Building Plastics, Luxury Bridal Photography, Lexington Business Payroll, Lincoln Baby Photography, Laura's Bras and Panties, Logline Books and Publishing, and Little Big Planet. Among many other backronyms, probably. That or that could potentially be relevant. We have 2 photography-related results. Let's search both of them. Luxury Bridal Photography is a photography business, which is a good start. Unfortunately, it seems it's located in Ireland, and its owner is named Nicholas. He goes by Nick Luxury, but you doubt it's his real name. It's very unlikely this is related to what you're looking for. Lincoln Baby Photography seems like a solid lead, as it mentions a Val, an award-winning photographer, on the page. It's a business in Beacon, New York, and on the side it has a picture of a baby and a camera captioned with Cam Lincoln reaching for his namesake. I guess he takes after his father, Val. At the bottom, the website says copyright 1998-1999. The picture has been added to your evidence. Yep, it's another baby. Okay. Well. I guess if it's going anywhere at all, it's probably over here. Let's have a little look in Telephoto. Nothing, eh? Huh. This is a surprisingly useless periodical. Okay, like that. Val Lincoln featured in telephoto. The cover, which featured one of his photos as well as portions of the article, has been added to your evidence. Telephoto was a photography magazine. The 1992 issue focuses on the photos of Val Lincoln, a photographer who went overseas during Desert Storm. He won the SAPE Award for photojournalism specifically for the photo on the cover. Val got his start in high school when he took a photography class because, in his own words, he couldn't decide what else to do and thought it would be the best career in the world to shoot for Playboy. But he quickly found he had a knack for it and began to skip lunch and free periods to spend more time in the darkroom. After graduating, he tried to pivot to landscape photography but didn't have any passion for it. I work much better when I'm trying to tell the story of a person, not an object. He got lucky when a photographer mentor of his who was going overseas to cover the war decided to take a chance on him. Most people wouldn't call it lucky to go to an active war zone for no pay, but he bought my plane tickets and my meals and even pulled some strings so we could rush my passport. For someone that never had a real job or even left California, it was a hell of a break. Val was only 19 at the time, and shot the photo that won him an award the third night he was there. The photo depicts Lisa Clementine, who lost an arm in Operation Desert Sabre. According to the article, women were not subject to direct combat, and Lisa was in the vehicle at the time. The vehicle had to pull over suddenly when the road ahead was partially destroyed, and she and a fellow soldier were severely injured by a landmine. Val says, I ran into Lisa just after her surgery and took this picture. Then until she shipped out, I kept finding excuses to go back and take more pictures of her. I guess it was fate, because that's the photo that won me an award, got me into your magazine, and also led to my engagement. Just earlier this week, she agreed to become Miss Lincoln. Okay, this is highly, highly helpful. Military. Here we have Val Lincoln, and down here we have Cam Lincoln, who appears to be a baby. Very cool.
Hey there, it's us. So I just have to say, the work you're doing here is fantastic.
With some help from the rubber duck, but yes.
So fantastic, in fact.
There goes Clark. Always the bad cop. Go ahead.
Well, our law firm, Ruby Legal Enterprises, is having trouble keeping up. They're actually begging us to stop submitting new Roottrees. They said it's getting difficult to verify your progress.
Well, consider that a good thing. I told Clark you'd get results.
She says that like I didn't believe her. Regardless, the bad news is it's going to take 5 potential tree additions before anyone locks in from now on. Good luck.
And keep up the good work.
How do I fill in any part of this nonsense? Because with this not even being over here, I have absolutely no idea how you even access. Where is my inroad? How do I get to this part of the chart? Yeah, I think I got it. Alright, I need a new occupation. Fair enough. So, what the heck is my spelling? Wrongity, wrong. Lisa Lincoln is, according to a military website, you find an amputee who lost a limb in Desert Storm. She runs a support group for fellow veterans in Beacon, New York. She makes another appearance listed as a professor at West Point and Military College. She teaches classes that contribute to their environmental engineering major. A short biography on the staff page mentions that she had a passion for the military from a very young age due to erroneously believing that a family member was an Air Force pilot. While she later learned that to be untrue, her passion remained and she joined ROTC in high school. From there she enlisted. After returning from Desert Storm, she had a degree and returned to West Point to teach a few years ago. Relocated even. I guess we'll go with teacher now then. Or professor even. Fine. Sorted for you. Right, you're finally gonna help me out with this bit. Yep, Heather's got the inhaler. Yep. Huh? I swear I've looked at this half a dozen times and I've still got it completely and utterly wrong. Bleh. Fine. Happy now. Ecstatic. Fantastic. Bess Williams, eh? Didn't even think about looking them up further. Author born in the late 1800s. She lived just outside of Miami and died tragically young in a major hurricane that struck the area in 1926. Thus has a minor history with the Roottrees. Her only notable book, Family Man, is widely considered blatant propaganda about Elias Roottree. It's been all but forgotten, until recently when it was re-released showing the height of Roottree mania. There's a site dedicated to hurricane statistics that also mentions Bess Williams. The Bocadoral Library, not far from where she lived, was partially destroyed in the hurricane. When they rebuilt, they renamed the non-fiction section after her. The library was expanded again in the 1950s, then closed in 1963, when multiple large libraries opened in the surrounding area that made it redundant. Let me just get a brand new page for all of this nonsense. Okay. The Bocadoral Library no longer exists. You find multiple libraries in the area. According to the website for the library system in Miami, the building where it once sat is now the Miami Print Museum. Searching for the Miami Print Museum, they come across their website. It states their hours and a list of exhibits. The building is very small, admission is free, and they only have room for a few different displays. One of the exhibits is their courtyard, which includes a fountain as well as a statue of an unknown author A picture has been added to your evidence. Another is a printing press used by the Miami Sunday, a now defunct weekly newspaper. The last is the original print of Cuba by Cubans, an art book. Give me this paper. There's no records you can find online or in your periodical search. Paper that lasted only a year. Played for the longest title for an American newspaper at the time, with a newspaper in Jefferson, Texas. Cuba by Cubans is a book of paintings of Cuba, released in 1963. It's credited to Marcia Barban. At first glance, it doesn't seem related to your search in any way. At first glance, you say? Do I have anything related to art? No, not really. Alright, let's go for the, statue in front of the Miami Print Museum. It's in the courtyard and according to their site is said to be of an unknown author. Huh. Okay. How precisely does any of this help me? See how this is particularly useful right now. Kind of seems like a bit of a dead end. Aha. And that's the last periodical, apparently. I know, because I just got an achievement. Miami Mercury is an defunct newspaper that merged with the Miami Sunday. The resulting paper went out of business. Some point during this process, it was at least partially archived and available via the periodical search. Fantastic. Discontinued in '69, and therefore not useful for anything but our current strand of investigation. The Miami Mercury had an article about the Bess Williams section in the Bookerical Library when it was being built in 1928. It mentions that Bess's young son, now an orphan, was in attendance during the dedication. It also had a later mention from 1949, the last year the paper existed, about a bidding war for a planned expansion of the library in 1950. The bidding was won by Wildcat Construction and included a new statue, fountain, and a second room that would double its shelf count. car. Wildcat Construction, ceased operating in the 1960s, listed in some internal records as having worked on many buildings in the Miami, Florida area. Let's plug that into here as well. Mentioned in an article you've already seen, it was also mentioned earlier in 1947 under a headline Constructing a Better World. Frank Wildcat Williams left Florida in 1941 a construction worker and returned a hero. He won the Navy Cross for his bravery and sacrifice, having carried a fellow soldier to safety over heavy Nazi fire. He and his wife, Orphea, are now carrying his fellow soldiers through tough times at home. Alright, we're gonna want that. We are gonna want that. Wildcat Construction is Frank's company, focused on creating opportunities for soldiers finding difficulty getting back to normal. Orphelia has handled outreach to the wives of local veterans who are often able to provide insight into their husbands' needs and conditions. She has, through such outreach, found 13 veterans of the war to serve as Frank's employees. The community support has been unendingly and overwhelmingly positive. It has gotten to the point where if Frank bids on a project, other local companies have decided to step back and let his soldiers handle it. This has become a bit of a sore spot for local politicians and business owners, and the bids are often not as low as they expected. The problem for them is that, essentially, Frank has a selective monopoly, but any attempt to circumvent it has caused an uproar and accusations of being un-American. It's uncertain what will become of Wildcat Construction, but at least for now we're rooting for them. I guess this might go back to the same place. We can also try this. Fine. Frank Wildcat Williams is listed on a few different military history websites. He was awarded a Navy Cross Medal in World War II, and the story goes that even after being struck in the arm with a bullet, he managed to carry a fellow soldier through enemy territory on his shoulders for over 2 miles. He died in 1996, aged 74, in a retirement community in Sweetwater, Florida. An obituary on the website of a local news channel that was written by a surviving family also sheds light on some of his personal life. He grew up an orphan because his family died in a hurricane when he was very young. He could barely remember his mother and had no memory of his father. After the war, he ran a construction company that mainly hired World War II veterans and did a lot of jobs in and around the greater Miami area. He was a born joker, and a shining light to those veterans who needed it most. An anecdote mentions that he used to insist he married his wife, Orphelia, as a matter of courtesy and convenience. She wouldn't have to change her last name. A photo is attached of Frank in his youth juggling hammers in front of one of his construction sites, as he was often known to do. According to the article, he is survived by Orphelia, as well as his daughters Barb and Sharon Williams. And searching for a fellow Williams will then turn up a nothing because she never changed her surname to Williams. And we have... there's that same statue in the background. I don't know if Bess is going to go here or there. Well, it's got to go here. It's got to go here. It's got to go here because this is her son down here. Author. Presumably that's meant to be her, but uncertain. This is Frank Williams. Construction. And at least one of these is incorrect. Probably that picture. Over here we have an Ophelia of unknown surname. Okay. Bob Williams is a motivational speaker, and she has a website that explains the services she offers. Her company's address is listed as in Coconut Grove, Florida. Flyer added to your evidence. Five. Aha. Flyer includes 3 different testimonials from Greet Jones from WQTV 12, Vic Elmsworth from the Kiowa Falls Gazette, and Isabel Crosby, the superintendent of Benton County. Book Barb for corporate retreats, church events, or even school assemblies. She can customize her message for any audience. Overcoming Adversity with Barb Williams. Well, that gives us a bunch of threads to search up on. And that got me nothing. We also don't know which one is the oldest daughter, which one is the youngest daughter. I mean, actually, Ophelia's probably down here, and we don't know who this is. Okay, from here, I think we have several things here to look into. Yeah, we can just add stuff straight on here. Well, we've got names. We've got names! That, I think, is going to lead us nowhere new, but let's have a look anyway. That might lead us somewhere new. Okay. Nice. Don't think there's anything else on the flyer itself. Okay. is somewhere down here. Well, let's just throw things in and see what happens. Too common of a name to find anything useful. Goddard Jones is, according to a flyer in your possession, the morning news anchor for a channel called WQTV12. Unfortunately, it has no online web presence whatsoever. You do find it listed on a giant list of television call signs next to the city Springfield, of which probably won't generate any useful results because there's tons of Springfields everywhere in the US, under the heading Effingham County. You may need to do a deeper dive on a specific city and state to see if the locals have discussed the news in that area. Fine. Vic Elmsworth, according to his own personal page, is apparently one of 3 brothers. All 3 of them are contributors to a newspaper called the Kikawa Falls Gazette, and he tends to focus more on the southeastern United States. All the articles he's written are archived on his site, along with the long-form version of the review for Barb Williams' motivational show from 1997. According to Victor, he had seen Barb talk more than once. On this particular occasion, Barb's talk was at a very large church, and it was clear she was an expert at matching the presentation of her concepts for any particular crowd because she received a standing ovation. Barb started with a story about loss, specifically the loss of a bicyclist who had been hit by a car. She spoke about the death of any person as a darkness in their loved ones, a cold empty void that begins to creep into a space where once there was a light. Like as the light could never return exactly to how it was, she says the only option is to nurture new sources of light to help fight back the darkness. Her conclusion was that finding the hidden meanings in tragedy is the most important thing we can do. She used multiple biblical comparisons and finished by looping back around her initial story and how she personally began to come around to this ideology. The biker who died was her son-in-law, and the Lanes Across America charity was created to fill the newfound darkness her daughter experienced. It, the charity, was the light that began to fill the void, and she was doing everything she can to help nurture it. Okay. So she is probably here because she's not here and she has a daughter. No, because Barb is one of his daughters, so how does that make any much sense at all? Unless you're in the wrong place entirely. But I'm not sure how you could be. I need more information. Lanes Across America, or LLA, is a charity focused on adding bike lanes to major cities. The pages and pages of news articles that mention Lanes Across America have a similar summary in them. LLA, formerly LAM, was founded in 1987 after the death of Drew Smith. Drew was biking home from work when he was hit by a car. Every year since, Lanes Across America has grown, and they now have offices in over 12 major metropolitan areas, including Miami, where the charity began. The website for the charity has a picture of Drew added to your evidence. LAM then clearly stands for Lanes Across Miami. does narrow down the pages and pages of articles you found earlier to only those with a more in-depth history about the charity. LAM was formed in 1987 and became LLA in 1994. It was founded by Sharon Smith after the death of her husband. Sharon and some other board members stepped down in 1992 and the current leadership took over. One of the oldest articles is a full uncropped version of the same wedding photo from the LLA website. It seems that after Sharon left LAM, they began to crop her and the rest of the wedding party out of the photo to focus solely on Drew, who was the face of the charity. Full photo added to your evidence. Okay. We are definitely in the wrong place on the graph. But this is a lot of other people who have pictures and will go somewhere. That are definitely more down here somewhere. So I think I have you in the wrong place entirely. And I'm not sure where else you're going. And who are the other two people in that photo? Let's get this periodical, assuming it is one. There is no Kikiwi Fours anywhere in the world that you can find. The closest thing to a Kikiwa appears to be in New Zealand. Instead, a man named Chris Elmsworth has invented a small-town newspaper as a conceptual art piece. The Kikiwa Fall Gazette is a series of online articles about small restaurant shows and other tourist attractions all across the United States. This is presented as a monthly newspaper of small-town America. What makes the Kikiwa Falls Gazette a bit strange is that amongst the articles detailing real locations are occasional stories that present outlandish, inflammatory concepts in extremely mundane ways. For example, on the homepage right now is an article entitled "Mermaids Strike Back Against Lobster Farms" that, using very dry language, distills the idea that mermaids in Maine have begun to unionize in support of better benefits. There are no punchlines, and the articles are not marked any differently from the rest. Unfortunately, each current issue of the paper is presented on the homepage, and there are no archives. Huh. Whoops. Well, that's where I wanted to go anyway. It's probably a dead end besides, but strange. Goes to the same place. Okay. No information about anyone named Isabel Crosby that feel like they could be related to your search. There's a Benton County in 9 different states in the US. There hasn't been a Benton County in Florida since 1950, so you're not sure which one Isabel Crosby comes from. Searching for Isabel Crosby doesn't seem to lead to anything that seems to fit what you're looking for. You might be difficult to track down then. There are, for whatever reason, over 30 Springfields in the United States. A fact that I knew already. Well, not the exact number, but I knew there are a lot of them. Nothing relevant. We need to know the state. There is a Springfield in Effington County, Georgia. When refining your search television in and across Springfield, Georgia, you come across a website that lists different channels available there. The list only seems to feature broadcasts with female news anchors. The person who runs the website has ranked each using 3 categories. None are relevant to journalism. One of the entries is Channel 12, and the news anchor listed is Greta Flores. News anchor who apparently used to go by Greta Jones before her divorce. Aha! Compared to the ordeal you've gone through to figure out her current name, it's way easier than you expect to find she has a website of her accomplishments. She was apparently the MC for an all-female speaking tour in 1977. The tour was called Sisters Storytellers of Sisterhood, the Mothers and Daughters of Earth. You do a search for it and it seems some of the stories were compiled into a book simply titled 25 Stories of Sisterhood by Ayla Hale. Goes to the same place. Okay, let us find this book. Anthology of stories told on a few different Storytellers of Sisterhood tours. It contains direct transcripts of the most well-received stories told on stage. Ayla Hale is the editor, not the sole author. One of the stories by Barb Williams has been added to your evidence. Fantastic. Barb Williams had the transcript of a story she told on stage published in a book. The first part of her story focuses on 2 16-year-old girls. My sister, Sherry, was a brat, always sulking, often disobedient, never on time. She borrowed things without asking and even ran away from home, only to sneak back the next day like nothing had changed. My daughter Sharon, on the other hand, was a beautiful person. She had excellent marks in school, was intensely artistic and creative, and even volunteered at an animal rescue. She continues to tell stories of the 2 girls until she shifts the narrative. What was the difference between Sherry the brat and Sharon the beauty? Is it nature? Nurture? A better education? Different opportunities? The answer is nothing. There was no difference because my sister and my daughter are the same girl. Barb reveals that her daughter was the result of an unexpected pregnancy when she was only 15. I met a boy at a county fair. Unlike us, he lived in the nice part of town. He went to the good school. To a teenage girl, it felt like a fairy tale. But there were boxes all over his house. He was moving in 3 days. Those 3 days were heaven to me. The final night, he surprised me. He told me he could actually see me again soon. He planned to return to visit his grandparents. I thought I was giving him a reason to keep his promise. I never saw him again, and when I finally got desperate enough to ask around, a friend of a friend told me he hadn't even given me his real last name. Barb also talks about when she found out she was pregnant. I was convinced my life was over, but my parents, they took charge. I had to live at home and work a part-time job, but they removed the burden of motherhood. I managed to scrape out a degree in English, and as far as my daughter was concerned, I was her much older sister. Barb uses the story to come to a conclusion. When I was younger, I thought my sister was the brat, and I wasn't wrong. But she ran away from home to work at that animal shelter. She borrowed my clothes for presentations at school, and her creativity allowed her to open up Sherry's hair. It took me far too long to realise the beauty was always there too. In fact, the brat and the beauty exist in all of us. It was my inner brat that kept me blind to the truth, and I'd like to say it's the beauty in me that's finally able to see what I was missing. I implore you to call upon the beauties in yourselves whenever the brat tries to take hold. Okay, this should allow me to put this firmly onto here somewhere. But yeah, I have definitely put all of this stuff in a totally the wrong place. Let's just clear the border view first of all. Okay. Yeah, this is this weirdness on the graph right here. Meaning I can start placing things properly. Okay. So over here we have Barbara Williams. Occupation, public speaker. Down here we have Sharon Williams. Occupation... Do we have an occupation for Sharon Williams? Okay. Bess must be here. This is Frank Williams. Construction. I know, because we have a picture of him. Finally! Okay, and that's wrong because Bess Williams is not her original surname. Fine, we'll fix that later, hopefully. Sherry, we know, is most recently a hairdresser. Or at least I think that's a pretty good assumption to make, considering she runs a business called Sharon's Hair. We know thanks to this. This is Sharon Williams, aka Sharon Smith. This is Andrew Smith. Maybe. How do I find out who the other couple of people in that photo are? I don't think Greta Flores is relevant. She's just part of the path we had to go down to get to that book. So maybe? It's more likely, I think, that you are in fact down here. Because the only place you and you really fit would be here and here. And they're already adults by this point. So unless it is an extremely late wedding, this is probably a second marriage rather than a first marriage. Where do I go from here, though? Doc, help. Miss Williams had a child who was orphaned and worked closely with Elias on his book. Huh? That makes that utterly and completely wrong. You do in fact go up there. And yeah, we had that information. Yeah, we know this is Felia something. I guess I'll put Williams, but that is almost certainly not her original surname. Where did I see that information? That's way back somewhere. Bob is in Florida. It's potentially helpful. Mrs. Youngson, now an orphan, was attending during the dedication. Author. Yes. Obviously. Unless that's Barbara. It could be. Unsure. Yes. I know. Didn't think to do that, though. Whoops. Wrong entirely. There's a sheriff's here in Orlando. The owner of the business is listed as Sherry Yastozeminski. Wrong place entirely. Come on. Sherry has a large van and on weekends can bring the style of Brittany, Cassandra, or even the Rachel to your door. The About Sherry section is very, very long and presented as one paragraph with multiple run-on sentences and no pictures. You get the sense that if she were to do your hair, she'd be doing a lot of talking. It mentions that her husband Pete was her late husband's college roommate. She and he had never spent any significant time together until she became a widow and they built a charity together. They left the charity behind because it was growing beyond their ability to run it. She also brags about her kids, Tony, Mark, and Cricket. Her oldest, Tony, seems to get the short end of the stick, and his two listed accomplishments are that he's the oldest and that he's a straight A student. Mark, on the other hand, has multiple baseball accomplishments listed. Apparently his Little League team is nationally recognised. Cricket York is near the end, and has an entire section dedicated to her. She's an actress on a local television show called Library, and the reason Sherry relocated from Miami to Orlando. Sherry, in addition to being hireable to come do your do, is a stylist for the show. The passage also mentions that her agent recommended they change her last name to York since it was easier to pronounce. The rest of the section describes how she got the part, but it seems unimportant to your search. Yes. I don't think we have a picture of them yet. I think I might have them the wrong way round again now. At least the names. Where's Smith gone? Because this is after his death. Let's go with that for now. is not an option, so we'll go with Anthony. Anthony Smith, I guess. And we're not sure which way round Mark and Cricket are. But based on the photo that we have, they're probably this way around. Gonna go with that. You are an actress. Anthony, we need more information. All we know is he's a good student. Yeah, baseball is far too specific. Sports? No. Athlete? No. Maybe that's not too... well... Sports manager? Pro athlete. Let's go with that. Okay. If their surname is Smith, they're not going to be easy to find, because Smith is the most common surname in the US, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, no. Ooh. No, that information conflicts. Cricket has to be over here because she has the surname that is hard to pronounce. It's got changed to York. I wonder. I'm gonna say I don't have pictures of any of these people. Periodicals for... yeah, we have a periodical from Miami. This should be helpful. Liberty Library is a children's show filmed at a studio in Orlando, Florida. It's been on the air since 1991. In the show, multiple adults and children interact with the different animal puppets in a small town called Liberty. Unlike some of the other popular shows involving non-human performers, this one isn't funded by the public. Instead, it's paid for by donations from businesses related to education. This includes textbook manufacturers like Corithmetic, tutoring companies such as Educa82U, and a few well-known publishers of picture books. From what you can find, it's syndicated in a few markets across the southern United States, and in New Hampshire for some reason. Unlike most other children's entertainment, many of those who grew up with it tend to have fond memories. This works in your favour because the show has been documented by a few fan sites. There's even a Liberty Library web ring, though it only has 3 entries. You click through the sites in the ring and find out that Cricket York joined the cast in 1997 at the age of 5 and is still listed as a current cast member. A picture of Cricket from one of their first episodes has been added to your evidence. Can't get a picture of this raccoony fellow. A. That's a very blurry letter A. Ah, according to the site you found out on the theme of the episode tackled why some people needed glasses. Makes sense why it's blurry. I get it. Also, this guy is called Pooftail, apparently. Fair enough. I doubt this is going to go anywhere helpful. But let's search for these anyway. Arithmetic is a math textbook publishing company. They were in the news last year when a primetime news program did a full comparison of their 4th edition textbooks from 1996 and their 5th edition textbooks from 1998. Schools were complaining that the two editions seemed remarkably similar, yet Core Arithmetic was charging almost double for the newer edition than they had for the previous one. The news program announced that between the two books there are only 16 total changes. The most notable was that the cover was changed from a picture of a water droplet creating concentric rings on a lake to a close-up of a feather. The other 15 changes were all instances of chaining 4th to 5th. This even led to a geometry problem where the book asked students to calculate the 5th side of a rectangle. Nobody associated with Core Arithmetic seems to be related to your search. This apparently is located relevant to something. Educate2U is a tutoring service. They have a deal with the Library Library and feature some of the actors from the show in pictures on their website. According to the site, they actually provide tutoring for all the actors and actresses on the show to accommodate their shooting schedules. Included is Cricket York, who is seen in a photo labelled "Cricket and her brothers ready to learn from one of our talented tutors." Aha. You don't find much else about Educate2U, except there seems to be a small subsection of Library Library fans who are deeply unsettled by the company's logo, which would appear after the credits on one episode. One writes, "I was terrified of the little girl in the Educate2U logo. She looked like some kind of demon doll, and I'd race to the TV every day to switch the dial before her creepy laugh came on." This is a little bit creepy, yeah. Ugh, do I go with actor or do I go with student? Because they are kind of both, I guess. Would be either. One on the left looks older to me. So I'm gonna say that they are this way round. And I'm gonna be correct.